welcome to Coyote in the Highlands, Sideways Coyote, whatever, 23 degrees, wherever you may be watching this video. Yesterday was a very entertainingly educational day. I flowed right out of bliss for most of the day, and it was really annoying and kind of frustrating. And everyone around me, pretty much everyone around me, conspired unwittingly to try to stress me out. We had the I'm physically scared of you because my credit card is paid off. I don't even understand some of this. Like, the details don't matter, right? But 3-4 significant people around me really just hammered. And it was a little bit weird. It's almost as if, and you don't always want to go down this road, but it was almost as if there is a force at work determined to rob me of my inner peace, my fundamental well-being, my basic equilibrium. And of course you don't want to go down this road and become paranoid, but there's nothing really wrong with thinking about this in terms of the universe as a whole. I do think that it's worth looking at. I do think it's worth watching out for and walking away from. I talked about this a little bit on Twitter because Twitter is a place where you can get 30-word pieces of life advice that can just change your life for better or worse, but there's no depth, there's no explanation, there's no practice. It's just leave everyone who isn't good for you behind. It's like, be really careful with that one, because you may or may not know who's good for you. At the same time, don't get trapped, don't get a boot on your neck. Don't say, oh, I have to stay or something, right? But, the Twitter advice is just walk away from all of it. It's actually really good advice if you can walk away for long enough to get your peace back, to get your equilibrium. Go literally walk away. A couple hours, walk around for a day, okay? Walk around till midnight. Whatever it is, until you get your peace, your equilibrium back. I don't know what your practices are. I don't know what you have in your toolkit. There's some basic meditation books on there that you can get on Kindle Unlimited. There's meditation schools, there's practices, there's all sorts of stuff. But having some practice is good. One of the things that really, really helps, and this is just kind of a general, you don't need a training, you don't need a religion, you don't need a spiritual practice, you don't even need to believe in evolutionary psychology or basic psychology or Jungian psychology or behaviorism or anything. Going for a walk helps. It does, okay? Even if you believe that there is nothing to consciousness except random brain cell firing, the different brain cells will fire when you're walking. Go for a walk. Walk away really is a good piece of advice. You just need to sometimes think about what that means, like where you need to go on a given day. Yesterday was a little rough, There were a lot of stressors, okay? A lot of the things that people were putting on me were adding on to some deep-seated things that I'm not free of. And that usually revolves around, in the modern consumerist world, we are so inundated. It is so bad. But it revolves around the idea of finances somehow. It always involves finances somehow. You can't afford this car. You can't afford this car. You have this much cash sitting in. Like, a wad of cash sitting on the table is actually kind of a cool thing. As long as that wad of cash doesn't start to disappear, you can really feel good about yourself and stuff. That's how we're programmed in our society to behave, to think. And a lot of people resist that, and they resist that by hating money. And that's, of course, not that's just as much of a trap as only caring about money. Stuff like that. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, let go of it completely, but I do kind of want to say let go of it completely, But that is a big stressor for a lot of people. And that was what people were pushing at me yesterday, is ownership, deservedness, with a financial kind of thing, and whatever. It comes, it goes. Remember your remember your Kipling. If you can lose it all, walk away, not look back, and just rebuild your life. That's a kind of freedom. That's a kind of resiliency that is much more important than most things in your life. And I understand if you're in Duluth, Minnesota, or on the outskirts, and you lose your home, it's gonna be cold, but leave. Leave! Go somewhere warm, And I understand that there's a whole lot of baggage with this, The idea of leaving, the idea, not that you need to do it, but that you need to be capable of it, is so horribly misprogrammed right now. No one thinks of nomadism outside of the people who are doing it. Very few people think of nomadism or technical homelessness or just leaving, taking off with a car. The grand adventure of the 50s is now the horrible, evil thing that proves that you're a worthless member of a subset of society that poops on the street. Whoa! How'd you get there, dude? People used to take a little cardboard box of books, little bag of clothes, because you didn't have to have 500 pairs of jeans, back of a Volkswagen, backseat of a Volkswagen, and take off and go move across the country and go figure things out and go start a life. That used to be pretty common. You didn't have to have 15 forms of ID to get a job. You didn't have to do this, that. There's all these complications, but those are all manageable and survivable. So people get really caught up in, and this is really the point of the video, other outside factors, outside influences. It's very, very difficult to keep yourself free of them. It requires some fairly constant attention and practice, like looking in the mirror and just saying, that doesn't matter, or that's a lie. Okay, everything you see on the news, everything you see on Twitter, it's all a lie. So you need to say it. If it's attractive to you, make sure you just face the mirror and say, this piece of attractive outrage news is also a lie. Let it go. Don't put any attention on it. Get your attention off of it and onto other things. This is where certain meditation practices will really come in handy if you just give them the time. Just give them that hour. You need to at some point block out an hour, because it changes your neurochemistry dramatically. But even 5 minutes is helpful, right? Set a timer for 5 minutes, or 11 minutes and 11 seconds. It's my favorite timer. And get through some meditation, get the stuff out. That's going to keep. One of the things about meditation is it shows you how active your brain is. Keep dropping those thoughts. I can pick them up later. Give yourself permission to forget about them for the moment. You can always get them later. It helps. It helps a lot. The people around you, you have to, for your own spiritual health, be somewhat independent of them. Recognize that you're a social creature, and that your body has social needs, and that your brain chemistry has social needs, and that's all there, and that's fine. But so a lot of times people will want to take you down out of your bliss just to make them feel valid and important. They are pissed, they are sad, they are angry, they're depressed, they're hurt by something. You are in bliss. Therefore, you must be taken down to validate them. It's not even necessarily evil. It's just that it's a common human thing. And it's okay to just say it straight to them. I think that your feelings are valid, but you need to not try to hurt me to prove your validity. Go away. Not forever, just for now. You will feel better about it, but right now is not the time. Take a little charge of your own bliss, right? And it comes from outside. It comes from everywhere. There's a validation. Does your car look right? Are you walking down the street? Are you walking down the street? Is that what homeless people do? Do normal people walk down the city street? Oh my God. Like that. This is stuff that people talk about in their heads. And people will talk about. And you will see this, especially when it comes to people talking about, for example, bicycles. Bicycles is a really good one. A lot of physical conservatives, a lot of religious conservatives, a lot of ideological conservatives, a lot of anti-leftists, not even ideologically right-wing, but just anti-leftists. I hate communism, will hate bicycles because bicycles have become some sort of symbol of the communist left. That is so ridiculous. You let them own that. You just allow them to own that. Kind of like they own the some new words. I'm not going to get into that because I'll just get banned from every platform in existence if I say the anti-V word. But the words, the definitions change, and groups come and own them, and then your opposition to them, they take it away from you. They take away from you the idea of biking across the country because you're not a Marxist. Ooh. Well, it's just the same thing when it comes to where you go out and eat, what your value to yourself is in terms of paycheck or something. Don't let that happen, right? That's all outside influences. And largely, it's like society has a mind or a consciousness. Like there's a supra-consciousness in society that wants to eliminate your bliss, your independence, your enlightenment. And that's not a very healthy society, okay? But it is as if, it can be treated accurately as if there is a social consciousness. And you need to free yourself of that. Find a different social consciousness. We have subsets of society. We have dozens and dozens of them. And maybe let go of some of your... I'm speaking very specifically right now to the people who are anti-communist. I'm just going to... That's all I got for a description. Maybe it's time to let go of some of your hard beliefs. Not to stop believing them, not to stop valuing them, but to stop putting them in front of you. And go find those subsets of society that allow for a little bit of happiness and bliss. Even if some of those people are vegetarian or eat organic food or something, grass-fed beef, even if they're a little weird, get into those subsets of society and change the inputs just a little bit. Don't let everyone rob you of your bliss, especially the society as a whole. Stay sideways.